Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-da. It's a secret. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba. Welcome to Game Wolf Plays Heretic. Today, E2M9, the Glacier. And unlike the last level, it is all ice and no fire. Or at least the one part of it is just ice, where the aforementioned glacier is hanging out. It's only to annoy you. The rest of the level is kind of compartmentalized into sections. I'm not really sure what kind of colonies settle in a volcano. Maybe Aztec colonies, but here in medieval times, it would be like, what? It'd be like if you resettled after Pompeii, is where this timeline would be. I feel like that's a bad idea. Get rid of these globules. I guess I could just call them toxic barrels. I don't remember what they're called. I'm sorry. So globules is about as accurate as I'm going to get. The toxic molecules. The building blocks of any toxic community. In these corners, we have a sphere. There's also a lot of secret compartments in this level. I really had to take notes on this level. Wow. There's more globules. We're also going to have some of them that regenerate, so that's not pleasant. I'm just going to ignore them and bypass them. But the ones that regenerate are useful for constantly destroying enemies that go near it. So if you need another way to conserve ammo, there's your route. But you'll have to use something cheap like the wand on them. Or the crossbow. Might be easier. Depends. Depends on how fast you want it gone. And no, you can't bullshit your way around them unless you have, like, what, invincibility ring? Yeah. Maybe fly over them. I realize that since you can fly over stuff in this game, that the usual Doom Y-axis rule doesn't actually apply. And that's a good thing. 10 reasons why. Alright, morph of them. Stained glass windows. That's a general theme in this game. Stained glass windows. It was a big thing in medieval churches. Still is a big thing in churches. It's just carried over from that trend. Like how chefs wear a certain head garment because of old religious underpinnings. If you wonder why symbols are a certain way, it just has to do with how they began. That's how it is with language. Saber claw, gonna claw you with the saber, gonna saber it. Could you imagine me trying to talk while playing? I can't imagine it. It's like talking while driving. Okay, so I could imagine it. That one's on me. Those thin glass windows are hiding something. Shall we take a look? It's in a book. The Reading Painbow. I will be the host heretic now, bitch. Yeah. It's not like I have turrets or anything. I'm just being loose about what I say. As a mature adult person. Who doesn't think it's necessarily offending one. Hey! The disciples of the stained glass window. You were just waiting there. Luckily, when you become a formless mass with a cloak on, restroom facilities are no longer required. You simply barely exist as a nothing. Just that spews magic. I'm not sure what species the disciples are really. Either they're former elves or they're just somewhere from another dimension. Alright, this is a good haul. I think one of them also dropped a Tomb of Power. We're going from the tubes to the wombs, baby. It's all backwards from here. Oh, right. I was wondering why this one wall didn't open up. Well, turns out you have to grab the yellow key, and then that wall opens up. Because I remember the area before, but now that I'm actually doing proper research before doing these videos, I actually know the logic behind how some of these things work. Not always, but most of the time. Whether it's from sheer memory or just, like, checking every spot trial and error style. Which I don't seem to mind that much. As long as I'm not dying every 5 seconds, we're cool. I don't even hear the door open because it's too far away, but I assure you it just opened. I confirmed this on the scanner. This is a good area to use a torch, actually. In fact, yeah, so if you have a torch, use it in this area. I think one is even given to you right around this area, too, just to beat the point home. Yeah, I was thinking, yeah, maybe I could just waltz in there. No, you have to press a switch before you do that. Oh, when did I get the other torch, then? I don't remember. Anyway, this is where I use the torch. There's gonna be were-dragons here, so I'm gonna look down a little bit. There we go.
Without the torch, it'd just be a dark alleyway with fireballs coming from where you can't quite see them, so... I mean, they're big enough that you might not even miss, but take it from me, and just use the torch. Actually, a lot of games I have from the 90s are really have a lot of dark ambience with their lighting. It was definitely like that with the N64 and PS1, and so too was it with PC games. Even like towards the beginning of 2000s, it was like that. At some point, we changed around to like a bunch of motion blur and brown and amber and annoying brightness to counteract it. Like we're all fucking Spielberg directing these games. I don't know. It's all about the anti-aliasing, I think. At some point, this area opened up near the beginning. It's only important if you need a bag of holding. You might. I'm using them to stock up on the fire mace ammo and phoenix rod ammo. Oh dear. I destroyed them a long time ago. They must have responded to me being nearby by reproducing asexually. Is that just you reproducing asexually, or are you just happy to see me? Oh, check this out. The one point where I'd use wings or raft is right here, because behind the stained glass window is... Surprise, bitch! It's an iron lich! So after disposing of the iron bitch... well, it was just for the nice ammo boost, actually. There's also a second iron lich in this level, which will be easier to... Both is easy to deal with. It's just sad. You know, he's been degraded... Now he's the butt monkey of all my punish. Like, I try to come up with creative ways to defeat him because, honestly, since the Iron Lich is probably the most clever enemy, not the toughest, but the cleverest, I tend to annoy him the most, just to prove a point. It do be like that. Alright, we got an array of the dragons, the were-dragons. Do they even look like something you'd think is a were-dragon? They certainly can't have the wings. So they're like earthy. I don't know. What do you think a were-dragon's supposed to look like? We're also going to have some sorcerers hanging back. I don't remember if I get that pillar to open, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to open. If you figure out how it opens, please write to me on this web zone. Check my abandoned were ring. No. You guys remember web rings? Where like all websites would just like join this like union surrounded by a separate topic, and they'd have this thing about it. I was like, okay, check out the rest of this ring. And go to the right to see all these other websites. That's pretty much how I was able to discover stuff before search engines. Although search engines are more trying to tailor to what they think you want personally. Don't let the be-all of your research be that way. In fact, that's the failing of search algorithms. They try to guess what they think you want rather than what you're actually looking for. Which is the worst. So take note, don't try to read brains. Is there a saving claw around too? We'll get to that place behind the gate. It's got a map on it. Unfortunately, it's the last thing I get. Oops. You ever play a Zelda dungeon and get the map last? That gotta suck. I know it happens to me in randomizer sometimes. I'm just like, oh, now I got the map, which is why I banish map general. I just make it so I automatically get the map when I'm doing it, because I don't feel like that kind of hassle. Especially if I'm doing a mod which changes where the key locations are. Because that's the best. Make a Zelda Metroidvania. Which I guess is what Breath of the Wild should be, but it's more like open world. Alright, we got more time bombs that I'm not going to use. I just like the sound of touching it. Okay? Have you ever touched an hourglass? Like, really touched an hourglass? I think when was the last time I touched an actual hourglass? Because I know I have. Probably for a board game, when I'm like, I don't know. Whenever something has to resolve in a time limit within the rules, like, okay, you have 1 minute. I guess if you're playing Boggle, for instance. Yeah, yeah. Next time I use an hourglass will probably be if I want to try out Boggle again. Which is just a quick word game based on some random generation. It's cool. Alright, there's some sorcerers behind that gate too. And I'm gonna egg them on. Get it? Eggs. I should play another game about eggs soon. I'm thinking of doing a Yoshi's Island LP, definitely. That's not gonna be too bad. Little news flash. I think my next LP might be Donkey Kong Country. Because I should just do that. And I see no reason not to. I have helped people LP the Donkey Kong Country games in the past. And I felt this is a good stepping stone doing anyway. They're excellent gateway games. They're just games generally. I think most people play it, even those that don't really care about video games have played it. So, it is my duty to do it. I don't care how popular something is, as long as I like doing it. It's how it is. If falling a cliff is fun, I will do it. I guess that explains the popularity of skydiving, bungee jumping, and hang gliding, and just jumping off airplanes. Look, it's a wall. No, the other wall. It's a wall. It's another wall. That's how you get back out to that zone with the regenerating globules. Behind here is the Phoenix Rod. Yep. That is the reasoning behind the secret. That's something I noticed this game does a lot more than Doom, is it usually tends to put a useful item behind every secret. Which is just good game design generally. In much harder games, like Blood, I'm going to rely on secrets a lot. I can tell. So, I know there's an Iron Lich coming up. I was just checking my items. But look, there's a ring right there. It's placed just because there's an Iron Lich here, I feel. I'm feeling a little lackadaisical. I'm just going to fire a few rods on him and call it a day. That is usually the most effective way of it, without using too much. Like, even if you're not using Invulnerability, or even a Shadow Sphere, a few rockets on an Iron Lich will get rid of it. Pretty good. There'll be much more strategic use of the Invulnerability Ring in Episode 3. Due to the Episode 2 boss spawns. Oh god. It definitely makes the game worth playing. Though, I feel like I'm still having an easy time with Episode 2. That's alright. You know, sometimes it is about the journey and not the destination. Which is why the goal of my destinations is to record my journeys. Entering a sort of goal-based paradox. But isn't that what accomplishment is? Just markers. Which brings me another reason I'm doing LPs like this, because, not because they're necessarily obscure, but I notice there's a lot of good games that are probably not going to have an achievement system that were made before the advent of achievement systems, which is partially Electronic Arts Games' fault when they owned Pogo.com, and they still do. I don't know if people use that anymore, but that's kind of where the achievement system originated from. It was like basic fun lottery games, like, you know, for instance, like a bingo game, maybe, and some solitaires and other card games and stuff. And it had like real-time lotteries. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is that if I'm spending more time doing these LPs than just going for achievements on things, as I feel it's more meaningful to collect these experiences. And I don't know if there'd ever be Heretic achievements. We're more likely to get Doom achievements for DOS, which I think has kind of happened already. Not so with Heretic, even though you could have easily done that. Whatever. I think that has more to do with licensing, actually, in Heretic's case, not just popularity. It has to do with Activision being a butt, really. Even though guys from id/Bethesda I just learned they generated a character from the universe, like a brand new character for use with Quake Champions. So that's a cool fact. So it's just like a Heretic Hexen reference in Quake Champions that is just original character, do not steal, because we own it now. Yeah, if you saw those 2 teleports open up through the exit. Well, both of them will lead you behind the gate areas. This switch pulls that down. What is a man? A miserable pile of mace spheres. Symphony of the Night LP maybe someday. It's more likely than you think. I do like that game. So, it could happen. When I decide to put RPGs on this video channel. That'd definitely be one of them. That's not really an RPG now, is it? It just has RPG elements out the wazoo. I still need the other teleporter for the map that I failed to acquire, unless I just did that. In which case, I wasn't paying attention, sorry. But I definitely got it. That is it for the Glacier. Up next, maybe the Tumbleweed or some other weird phenomenon. I'll just make a Wild West Heretic and call one of the levels the Tumbleweed. Alright, next time we return to the rest of the episode proper after this detour into a cold place. I don't know what the plot explanation is for going to secret levels. Ever. It's the rule of fun, baby. I will see you next time.